The last cross-country World Cup of 2017 is underway. Apologies for the slightly late arrival, but I'm sure you understand we have to stay with the ski jumping. Can't quite understand why the scheduling needed to be so tight. But for those of you who don't need to see the whole race, I can tell you that the best part of this women's 10-kilometre classic is still to come. And the seeds, we've only just got into the seeds starting. Those who have gone off and are setting good times, well, we're expecting to see something from Elizabeth Stephen, who had a good race in the Tour de Ski last year. Keegan Roundle of USA has not started. That's a bit disappointing.
Very disappointing. She'd planned to take the Tour at least 3 days and then optional after the 3 days, but clearly finding it so far not the right pathway for the Olympic journey.
Now, Ida of Norway set the fastest time on the early stages, but I can tell you she's on her second lap at the moment of 5K, and she is struggling big time. Skiers going past her as she virtually standing still. So I don't know whether that's a case of poor or, you know, the wax on the first loop looked all right. I wonder whether it's too little wax or whether the pacing was wrong.
Yeah, quite interesting. She certainly struggled up this section here, Ida, so I think it was wax. Jakobsen, though, making it look quite easy. A steep climb, this.
Yeah, this is nice skiing from Jakobsen. Could be a big day for her, especially with Bjørgen and Kalle, who've been the two sort of champions in the classic races so far this year. All the stats and all the records from 2017 season, 2017-18 season so far, Mike, point towards a victory for the same winner from last year, Østberg.
She's certainly looking good, and never really Østberg has come to the fore in the classic technique. Saarinen in the past has, but we'd expect, a top 10 would be a good performance for Saarinen today.
Saarinen lying 16th in the Tour standings at the moment, 54 seconds adrift of Lorient van der Graaf of Switzerland, who won the sprint event yesterday. And I think we'll see Saarinen set down a pretty stiff time for the rest to challenge. Settling one of the best Swedes here. They're missing Kalle, they're missing, of course, Nielsen, who was so good on the Tour last year, and also missing Ingmar's daughter. What that tells you is that the Swedes are going big time for the Olympic Games in February.
They often do, and resting, or at least not over-racing. A lot of coaches think that's a sensible path.
But they missed 7 races, Mike. Some are going to say they're race rusty by the time they get to Korea.
I think you've got to have the buzz of World Cups. It's the same at the Olympics, but a bigger buzz. You need that experience regularly to raise your game.
And to be honest, the women are only racing over 52 Ks over the 7 stages, so it's not like the Tour of old that destroyed Charlotte Kalle.
It's not. It's a much easier journey now. Of course, a day off on Tuesday, but another tough day tomorrow. 10 kilometres in the pursuit for the women, and of course 15 for the men.
Nadine Feindrich is away. She was 4th in this stage last year, so I think she'll be starting full of confidence. Only 24 seconds down on Østberg's time. That was in a 5K classic, and of course it was in Val Muster, but similar sort of conditions. I think we've got an even bigger crowd here in Lenzerheide, to be honest. It's
been amazing. I mean, it's been the best good news weekend of racing in Switzerland for Swiss cross-country skiers ever.
Yeah, 3 races, 2 Swiss victories.
You can't make it up. They couldn't have wished for a better start to the, well, I was going to say to the new year, to the end of 17, and of course the beginning of 18.
Well, here come those who started the day, and we've got number 3, that's Pia Fink, just struggling a little as she works her way up. Thomas Hugo France was also in that grouping.
Jess Diggins always attacking, but 11.9 deficit. I think what she did yesterday, snapping a pole once in sprint races, is tough. She did it twice in the quarterfinal, then the semi-final.
'17 is Maria Nordström from Sweden. That time looks okay with 6 kilometers gone. Hennig of Germany setting the fastest pace, and the German women really encouraging yesterday in the sprint run. They had Ringwald, who finished in 6th place, and then Hannah Kolb was in 10th. Victoria Carl also made the semi-finals, finished in 12th place, so 3 in the top 12. That was a good day out, and Stephanie Böhler down in 26. As for Finland, well, their best was Mari Laukkanen. In fact, Palmakoski was best in 9th. Laukkanen, the biathlete, finished 11th, but that's the end of her showing on the Tour de Ski for this season, which is a bit disappointing because I thought she looked fantastic yesterday. She'll be delighted with the way things turned out. Are we going to see her going for a sprint place in the Olympic Games? I think it's highly likely.
Yeah, I think she will. I think she's earned that right, without a doubt. And, you know, they pulled her in last year in Lahti for their own championships at home, so I'm quite sure they'll do it again.
Elizabeth Steven looking fantastic, but she's been caught by Anastasia Sadova. Those two having a real battle now. And don't forget that Elizabeth Steven finished 14th in the Tour de Ski last year. That was a really good run from her. But today, I think, is being won on the wax. We got up to 5 degrees by the start time, which was at 3 o'clock local. The temperature down to 4 degrees, and then it tends to plummet, Mike. There is a chance that those starting at the back of the field are going to have much colder, much harder, faster conditions.
Yeah, I mean, here we are. There's still another, what, 10 minutes to go on the start list. So, yes, the sun has dropped down, and the temperature is dropping.
8th place for Heidi Weng last year in this event. Yesterday in the Tour, she was 2nd in this event last year, the 2nd stage of the Tour, and of course ended up being the overall winner. And Heidi Weng looking for her 9th victory. Many now feeling, with Bjørgen and Kalle out of contention, that the Tour de Ski is again going to be fought out between Østberg and Weng.
Well, Caldwell, I think, can shake it up, can mix it up in there. We saw
Yeah.
the sprinting, and today she's wearing the sprint leader bib. She didn't win yesterday, but she wears the black bib because, of course, Van Siebenthal is the overall leader, and she doesn't wear both bibs. Unusual. We don't normally have that, the 2 bibs.
Yeah, normally you'd see them on the World Cup wearing red and yellow. Now, perhaps the favourite, the Norwegian with 44 World Cup podiums to her name. She's had 8 wins in her career, but what impressed me when I was looking at her stats, Mike, 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd. Those have been her standings in the last 4 seasons in the World Cup.
She's good. She's a regular. If she's got a weakness, I think it is more the classic, the distance classic competition. Yes, she won here last year, or the Val Münster 5 kilometers. But
I think that was her one and only distance race in the classic style.
I think it was, and of course we've seen her do it in Davos in the freestyle, but not so much the classic.
But when she's been racing in the era of Kowalczyk and Bjørgen, it doesn't mean you're bad at classic just because you haven't won any. She's regularly finished in the top 3 or 4, so I still think we're going to see something good from Østberg. What about Nepraeva? She's 22 now. The first World Cup she raced in was back in 2014. As we switch back to the course to see Sadova of Russia. In fact, this is 20. Is that 29? Just trying to pick it up.
Fessel, it's Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole Fessel.
The Germans, certainly the early pace finders from Germany. Thinking of Catherine Hennig, certainly good grip on their skis.
There's a fair amount of clister being used today, and that actually doesn't really help those who start late, Mike, because you lose a lot of clister while you're skiing, and it stays on the snow, so you're likely to pick up other people's clister, and you don't pick it up where you want it, which is underfoot. You tend to pick it up at the front and the back of the ski, and all that does is slow you down.
It does. The glide, when all these athletes, and you're on the same track going round and round, well, it's actually a 2 times round a 5 kilometer track, but after 2.5 they come back to the stadium.
Good opening 6K from Niskanen, takes the lead, 16:24 her time, so that's a healthy start for the Finn. Is Niskanen, should we consider her for a chance? I think we should. She was 6th in the Tour last year, and certainly a top 3 is very much a possibility as we look at Natalie von Siebenthal. And she's a good Tour athlete as well, Mike. 8th in the Tour last year. I know she was 25th yesterday, but the sprinting still doesn't have equal balance compared to the endurance races.
No, and this is good. Von Siebenthal, it's a competitive time. It's going to be a top, by the end of the day, we'd expect a top 10 position. 3rd at the moment.
Here comes Mary Ida, who really struggled up the climb last time we saw her, chasing that time of Bricard of Italy of 29.06, comfortably inside, but not nearly as good as it might have been. Thomas Oog just crossing the line, starting number 5, and with a good finish, it's Zambalova of Russia. She's comfortably inside, having been some way behind Ida, going through the 5-kilometre stage. So a good second lap from Zambalova.
Jakobsen, she started well. Now we've got 4 kilometres to go, and she's dropping a little bit of time. Needs to keep it sharp. She is on the plane to Korea, but they haven't identified any races for her yet, and that's why she's been asked to take part in the Tour de Ski.
Seebacker of Austria, and number 30, that's Teresa Stadlova. And the under-23 leader, Nepraeva, has been skiing very, very well this season. I think she's certainly a name to watch out for in the future. I don't know how she's going to do compared to the likes of Elena Velber, but be interested to know how you feel about all Velber's World Cup wins way back in, what was it, the 80s, 90s?
Well, yes, Velber, she certainly set a lot of records, but there certainly has been a cloud over anything that she has done in her racing career.
Number 8 is Hennig of Germany, who's taken a full minute out of Beruskova of the Czech Republic. And Hennig's just going to miss out on the lead time, but going into second place ahead of Ida. Good fight from her. And you can see how damaging that second lap was for Mary Ida of Norway. Slind, well, she doesn't look as though she's travelling that fast either. I'm just wondering, Mike, whether the Norwegians again have gone light on wax. They've survived the first lap and then really struggling on the second time round.
It's such a fine balance, and this course profile from the stadium both times, so it's 2.5, 2 separate loops of 2.5. The climb from the stadium over the 1.3 kilometres from the stadium is so steep, and on this lap here, it's over only 700 metres. It's very, very steep, a 70-metre rise. So outside of those 2 major climbs, you can get by with thin wax.
But don't forget, you're going around twice, so that's 4 climbs.
It's a fine balance for the wax technicians to get right.
Yeah. Emma Viken just finishing, and she's overtaken Jenny Oiberg, her teammate, who started 30 seconds ahead. So currently in the finish, we'll try and give you a rundown on the positions. You can see that at 2.5, Ida still with the fastest time. So I think in many cases that is a case of going far, far too fast over the initial kilometres. Elizabeth Stevens, she looked to be going very well initially. How's she managed to hold on? Wearing 19.47. And that is Anouk Favre-Bisson, who comes from Pontarlier in France. That's an area that's produced a lot of top athletes in the past.
Well, said about going very well. I think Liz Stevens is really struggling. She's outside of the tracks, trying to get more grip on the, well, what was newly fallen snow yesterday. Double poling our way up there. Many are struggling with the ideal grip wax.
Stephanie Buller, best of the Germans yesterday, finishing 13th. And we're going to get into the big guns fairly soon. And Heidi Weng, well, they don't come much bigger than that. She is the defending champion, not wearing yellow, having missed out on a final slot yesterday. I don't think she'll be so concerned, Mike. Not too much damage done in yesterday's race. 31 seconds given away to Van der Graaf. How much did she give away to Usberg? Only 2 seconds to Usberg, and something like 16, 17 seconds to Jessie Diggins.
It's quite interesting. I'm surprised. Heidi Weng, bib 54, really, we would have thought would be setting the fastest time at 2.5, but she's 7.5 seconds behind.
I think that's perfect. If we remember back to this morning, the winner who started steady, I think he was 6-7 seconds down at the first intermediate, and came through to pick up pace later on.
He was. Now, this is a real attacking start, 2.5, getting all the split times off her roommate and teammate, Heidi Weng.
51 is Ida Sargent from Craftsbury in the United States. 57 seconds down after the first stage of the tour. She could do with picking up a few seconds to get into a competitive position. Harsham of Norway, 23, 18th in the tour last year. Haag, 4.6, so a new leader in the early stages. That's a promising start from Anna Haag. And the Swedes needing to fill the void left by Kalla and Nielsen, who, I was going to say they're sitting at home. They're not. They're probably doing some local races. But do you get the benefit from doing a local race in Sweden that you do get from doing a World Cup?
I don't think so. You can't replicate the feelings here, getting yourself ready for the big races. Yes, you can keep your training going, and maybe that's what the coaches are saying. We'll put them into the World Cups in the weekend after the Tour de Ski finishes.
Well, just to let you know, as we watch Norway's Slid Slind finishing, that and Nordstrom coming fairly strong, having started 30 seconds behind Slind. The leaderboard at 5K has Bjornsson, Niskanen and Böhler. The big seeds have yet to go through that stage, but obviously a really good start from Sadie Bjornsson. New leader at the finish, Nordstrom of Sweden goes across the line, 4.5 seconds the margin. She's happy with that, but she's got a long wait to see just how good it is. Heidi Weng again. Not picked up on this occasion, as she's on her first lap, Niskanen on her second. You can see the difference, Mike, between the first and the second lap. Generally, we don't see a change in technique. There's just a marginal change in speed, but today they're flying up this climb for the first time. They're crawling up it second time around.
This course is hurting them, and especially these long climbs really take a lot of the feeling, a lot of the strength away from your legs. There is, in fact, what, 340 meters total climb within this journey, the 10 kilometers.
55 is Kirpinchenko, who's tracking Natalie von Siebenthal up the climb. Von Siebenthal actually doing very well, considering that's her second ascent. Number 20 is Sadova, again from Russia. And the Russian women coming strong, it seems. Yesterday, 3 in the top 26. Shakalova was the best in 10th position.
I think the biggest, that's a good time from Sadova. The biggest thing I noticed yesterday in the women's field were 5 of the Russian girls were at the back of the field. Really didn't perform well in the 1.5 kilometer qualifying time. And
21 is Stephanie Böhler coming in to finish for Germany, 13th in the Tour last year, 12.4 inside. So Germany back in charge after a good effort, as we watch Jakobsen up to 8.5. Generally downhill once they've crested the top of this hill down into the stadium, so you don't want to be more than a couple of seconds outside, and Jakobsen will not close down those 33 seconds. Jakobsen was in 10th position, only 12 seconds off the lead at 5K, so another Norwegian that struggled on lap number 2. Monanen not in the top 10 at 5K. But she puts herself into second position for now. A finish, strong finish coming in, it seems, from Catherine Rolstad Harsham of Norway, number 23. Just behind her is Anna Haag, who's taken 30 seconds out of the Norwegian. And Anna Haag was in 6th position going through 5K at 10.2. So she's the quicker of these two in the white suit, wearing 24. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see a new leader. It's going to switch from Germany to Sweden. And Anna Haag, who didn't complete the tour last year, goes into top spot for now with a 16-second margin. That's pretty healthy over 10K.
That's a good time. Anna Haag, when all the big names have gone past. In fact, at the 3.5, Anna Haag was still top 10. She'll probably remain that on the finish line.
Partner of Emil Jonsson. They have their own ski club, don't they?
Very much. They're a big name in Sweden, and Emil was on the start list yesterday, Jonsson, but opted out, didn't start. That's the effort at the end of this distance. 27.52, that's the winning time, the lead time at the moment from Anna Haag, but that's going to be beaten by what, some 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds at best.
Heidi Weng leading the way here. Nicole Fessel feeding off her. That was intelligent skiing from Fessel. She's stuck behind Heidi Weng for the last kilometre or so and now finds herself in with a chance, but I think it's just going to slip away from her. Hard time of 27.52 survives, and Fessel, I think, is going to go into second place ahead of Böhler. So Sweden, Germany at the moment in the finish. Heidi Weng has gone through 5K with the fastest time. Björnsson is in second place. Niskanen 3, Böhler 4, von Siebenthal of Sweden in 5. And that's at halfway as we watch Kerttu Niskanen from Vuokatti in Finland coming down the home straight. This is a powerful finish from Niskanen. She takes the lead. And the margin 3.7 seconds, as you can see. 65 starters. Scardoni is number 61. 34, you may recognise Jessie Diggins. Missed her time going through the spot. Diggins not in contention for the top 10, but she's down in 11th.
Yeah, 5 kilometres just outside. I'll tell you what, she was having to use an awful lot of upper body work, a lot of arm power. I don't think the grip wax was working well for Jess Diggins.
Now, von Siebenthal has missed out on the top spot. And you can see that it's fairly expensive every few seconds, costing a position. Does Böhler survive in 4th? She doesn't quite. Half a second in it. Von Siebenthal into 4 for now. So another good result for the Swiss ski team. And hopefully, I don't think it's so much about money as just priorities. Let's hope that the Swiss put more effort and more of a following into the cross-country side.
Well, it's quite interesting, and I know we both trained down there many years ago, but when you've got so many facilities for great cross-country skiing, it surprised me 30 years ago that there weren't more clubs, a deeper depth of clubs and interest in the sport. That's what's lacking here.
Yeah, but they're rather good at the alpine skiing, and that tends to be where the focus goes. Jakobsen into 6th position. She looked as though she was struggling from 3K. Well, I was going to say from 3K on the second loop into the finish. Niskanen lead 27.48. I think the winning time last year was 13.21 for half this distance. So pretty much at the same sort of speed as we saw last year, just marginally slower.
Well, Niskanen, her brother this morning, I think he was 7th position. He started in his usual sort of easy rhythm and never really got into his absolute form as we saw at the World Championships.
Now, Heidi Weng's gone into the lead at 6 kilometres, but I can tell you that her teammate, Usberg, has taken something like 13 seconds out of Heidi Weng going through 5K. So the race favourite Usberg is living up to expectations as we watch Stadlober come down the home straight for the second time today. Lewis Stadlober racing, her brother racing this morning in the men's 15. 56 is Usberg, and through 6K, she had 13 seconds. Looks as though she might even have extended that on the last climb. She has another 5 seconds over the last kilometre. That is phenomenal skiing. Can she keep this pace going? It's not going to be easy, Mike. And we've seen, as we've mentioned a number of times, we've seen a few Norwegians getting the pacing wrong.
Very much, but she'll have her teammate, Heidi Weng, will be in sight. What are we talking? Which is only 10 seconds up the path, and that's good news for Usberg. That will inspire to push even harder.
Well, Heidi Weng started a minute ahead of Usberg, so she must be 50 seconds clear.
Yeah, out of sight.
But out of sight at the moment, but the way that Usberg is going, she may well close down. Well, here's the black bib wearer, Sophie Caldwell of the United States. I was expecting a little bit more from her. I think she'll be disappointed with that. 12th place at the moment and likely to go down outside the top positions. Jessie Diggins, Mike, someone else we thought who might challenge for the Tour title this year. Challenge for a top 3, I think, is probably more realistic.
I think so. She's done very well on what I think is equipment. The skis not working as well as they could have. But she is one fighter. Yeah, she's one fighter, but I would like to sacrifice 1% of that fight and put it into efficiency. I suppose if you're looking at tiny little marginal gains, there's an awful lot of fight there, yes, which you see some of the smoothest technicians put it into travelling up the track.
Well, here we see Nepraeva going past the Norwegians again, and Russia, I think, slightly better on on the grip. It's a difficult day for getting the skis right. It'll be interesting to see what the athletes have to say after, what the technicians have to say.
And Neprieva, she started so strong. Yes, she had the lead time at 1.1 kilometers, but it's really dropping away now at 6 kilometers. Maybe starting just that little bit too fast. And you can see all the tempo, the technique is gone from Neprieva.
Yeah, at 6 kilometers, and just about all the big guns. Fowler, we haven't seen Mike and Kaspersen Fowler so far. Mike, did she start in the end? She is, of course, a sprint specialist, but I was expecting to see her.
Yes, bib 60, just check her earlier times.
She will have reached 5K, should actually be coming up towards the 6K marker as we speak. At 8.5, we've got Lorianne van der Graaf, the winner of yesterday's race, and as expected, struggling a little bit. She's will focus on the sprints, I think, for the rest of the season.
Yes, Fowler, 33rd from 60. She's bib 60, and it's not great news. She's a minute behind at 5 kilometers.
So that could be a margin of 2 minutes opening up. I think Fowler will go through to the next sprint, make sure she picks up some World Cup points. The sprint title, something that she's won before and will want to win again. And
good prize money, good points for the overall World Cup. Will she stay to the end of the tour? Unlikely, maybe, for Fowler.
Yeah, highly unlikely. There's our leader, Natalie, not Natalie, von Sieventhal in the finish. Von Sieventhal lying in 5th place. Kertu Niskanen leading from Anna Haag of Sweden, and Nicole Fessel of Germany currently sitting in 3rd place. But things likely to change. Sadie Bjornsson's having a fantastic run out there, Mike. Started number 40. Bjornsson, what was she, 14th yesterday? So she's going to be well positioned in the rankings come the end of today. 27.48. It's going to be close, but she's only got 50 meters to go, and surely Bjornsson's going to take the lead for the United States. That could be worth the top 5 come the end of the day. 6.7 the margin. Great fight, and she's taken Novakova of the Czech Republic to a good result as well.
Well, Sadie Bjornsson, that was a battle. That was a real fight. And I think that's what we see from all the American girls now. They believe that they can get on the podium, and that is inspiring them and pushing them even harder on the track.
Yeah, and it's slightly ironic, isn't it, that Keegan Randall is the one that really gave them that belief and showed them that it was possible, and she's the one who's had to pull out today.
Yes, it's a pity, but of course, Keegan before Christmas and Davos taking the podium 3rd position in the sprint race, coming back after the break. It was impressive.
Yeah, I'd hurry up and get on that reindeer pelt before someone comes in with a faster time.
Quickly get on there.
Get that selfie done. They're rare moments. 48, and looking as though she's cruising. Nadine Feindrich, couple of slips from Feindrich. She was very, very good in stage 2 of the tour last year. She's not managed to match that performance this time round, and again I think it's a ski issue for Feindrich. She's slipping all over the place on the steeper sections of the course, and does not look a happy skier out there. The body language and the technique both a little bit ragged.
A little bit. It's all over the place, and when the legs are spent, the body's spent at the top of these rises, it takes you a little time to get some feeling back. I'm just looking at Bjornsson, Patrick, and I think she may well stay on the podium when you look further down the track as the race goes on.
Yeah, she's in 4th place at 6K with all the big names through that stage. Well, there you have the standings at 6K. Østberg, Venn, Niskanen and Bjornsson. And Bjornsson obviously finishing strong. Niskanen has to do the same on her descent. And when are we expecting Niskanen? Well, Niskanen started 27, so in fact, I think you're right, Mike. Bjornsson has taken 4 seconds out of Niskanen on the descent into the stadium. Well done to the American technicians. That's something we've said a few times already this year.
Well, since they got that $660,000 waxing truck, it has, and that was just before Christmas. The team has lifted another notch since then. And that was all public money, fan money coming in to fund most of that.
Crowdfunding?
I believe it was.
100,000 per 1/10 of a second gained, but they've been valuable seconds that they've gained this year.
And now you've got 600 pairs of skis in that truck rather than the endless work the technicians have to do.
Well, here comes the tour leader, but not for much longer. Van der Graaf crosses the line, 1:35 down. Her moment of glory was yesterday, and my goodness, she enjoyed it. I hope she affords herself a party tonight. Van der Graaf, I think, was a big surprise in yesterday's sprint. We weren't expecting to see too much from her today. 51, Ida Sargent. Looks as though she's struggling, and she's about to be overtaken by Heidi Weng. And when she sees that Weng is wearing number 54, she'll think, that's a minute and a half given away. What she doesn't know is she's given away even more to Ingvild Østberg, who you can see in the background wearing 56.
But look at that. Now, Østberg, starting a minute behind Weng, has absolutely got Weng in her sight. She can see, and she's closing that gap. I think she's got it down to, what, 30 seconds?
Well, I think we waited
33?
till stage 4 last year before we started talking about how much of a lead does Østberg need at the start of the Alpchamisse if she's going to beat Heidi Weng. We think it's about a minute and a half, probably closer to 2 minutes. At this rate, she's going to have that and more.
Well, that's such good news for Østberg, and she knows she has to gain more and more seconds.
Saarinen for Finland across the line, 44 seconds down on the leader, and Björnsson's time is likely to be bettered by nearly 30 seconds. It may be in excess of 30 seconds because Björnsson was 28 down on Østberg going through 6K at 7.5 kilometers. Björnsson was 38 seconds down on Østberg. So everyone who crosses the line now has got to add 40, 50 seconds to their deficit to work out where they're going to be at the end of the day. Østberg is destroying this one.
What a day for Østberg. She certainly looked well over the top of our normal limit as she came to the last of the big rises.
But most of the damage had been done by that stage, Mike. Relatively easy finish into the stadium. 45 is Laura Gimler from Germany. Behind her and going a whole lot quicker is Fèvre Pisson for France. And no French finishers on the tour last year. Let's hope that Fèvre Pisson makes it all the way through. Kirpichenko, who saw the back of Østberg a long time ago, and just behind her in the blue bib is Nepraeva, who's already 35, 36 seconds. Now, when this course reduces someone like Nepraeva to a bare crawl, you know just how tough it is.
And you know, and that almost shows overtraining or over-racing in her recent terms. Looking back to Toblach before Christmas, she set the 4th fastest time in the classic pursuit, Nepraeva. She's just nowhere near that now. She was only 14 seconds off the fastest.
Now, all Swiss cross-country race courses, Mike, have one thing in common. They're at what we call relative altitude, around 1,500 meters. I'm not sure that some of them aren't suffering from that.
Quite likely. If you haven't been at altitude in the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks, in fact, you struggle a little bit more. It is a factor. And
we've come to the conclusion over the last few years that if there's one place where Heidi Weng doesn't really like racing, it's at altitude.
Yes, she struggles more. And
Val Muster, she was slightly below par last year.
Yeah, and well, when you think to the final stage in Val de Fiemme, it starts at 700 meters, but of course you climb, climb up by 450 meters.
Now, Krista Permakoski, second place in the Tour de Ski last year. She's going to have given away a few seconds. Already 25 off the pace set by Björnsson. So that's going to be something like a minute 20, maybe even a minute 30 behind the Tour leader at the end of today. Damage done to the Finns' chances, but she's strong enough in personality to come back from that. Heidi Weng's going to set the new fast time by some margin. She could be, what, 14, 15 seconds clear. Make that 16.5. Good finish from Heidi Weng, but better is still to come from her teammate Østberg, who's coming into the home straight now. The margins are going to be massive.
This is the classic race of Østberg's life, and of course she'll pick up another 15 seconds bonus as she crosses the line in first place.
7th place, just missed out on a final slot yesterday for Østberg. She won this stage of the Tour last year. She's going to win again this year, and the massive margin is going to put her right up to the top. Is she going into the lead in the Tour? She's got a 25-second advantage, plus 15 for winning the race today. And that is only the 9th win in her career. No one's going to touch that time. She has led pretty much from start to finish. At 2.5, Mike, did she have the lead on the first 2.5?
I think that might have been, now certainly at 1 kilometre she wasn't, in fact no, she set all the early times, all the times throughout every split time we had. Yes, she had 8 seconds at 2.5 kilometres.
It's all very well to say that Bjørgen and Kalle are absent, but you've still got 65 other athletes to beat, and none of them are slow.
Well, do you know, I'm not sure if even Bjørgen could have matched that time of Østberg today.
I think you might be right. I don't think this is a course that would have suited Bjørgen. Charlotte Kalle on her top form may well have flown it. We're not to know. Østberg, though, has come and she's proved just what she can do. Does that make her hot favourite for the Tour this year? She's certainly done some damage to Heidi Weng, who started a minute in front. A little bit of fortune for Østberg, getting the perfect start.
It couldn't be much better, knowing her main rival there, her teammate, 1 minute in front of her. And Heidi Weng, that maybe made Heidi a little more tense on the track, knowing full well that advantage Østberg with the split times.
And Heidi Weng's stats might go up to 173, 72, 8. Do you know what I mean? 173 races, 72 podiums, only 8 victories.
That's not bad. The podiums are great. Yes, she's had, what, 3 times 4th position this year as well, Heidi Weng.
Jana Kirpichenko trying to pick up the speed, but the podium places won't change, and the Americans who were impressed with their performances yesterday. Don't forget, Sophie Caldwell finished in 2nd place, so that's 2 stages and 2 podium finishes for the American women. Well done to Sadie Bjornsson. She's surrounded by Norwegians, but that's to be expected. And Østberg, well, a very happy winner, and so she should be.
Oh, she's delighted, and that the 15 seconds, so her time at the end of the day, it's taking another 15 seconds out of, sorry, another 5 seconds out of Weng, so a 30-second advantage on Weng today.
Well, she started 29.2 behind Van der Graaf. She's gone ahead of Van der Graaf, certainly. Sophie Caldwell was in 2nd place. Anything from her, I think she's going to miss out on a top 3 in the Tour standings. She's down in, what, 21st place, 140 behind.
Yep.
So she's moving out of the top 3. Faller also losing time early on. What about Jessie Diggins? She was only 14 seconds down after yesterday's sprint race. And Diggins, we thought, might go top 5, but she's managed a top 10, 104 behind. So even she's going to lose out to Østberg. So we'll wait for someone else to do the calculations, but I'm pretty sure that Østberg is our new Tour leader after today's effort.
And one result which is outstanding is Anne-Maria Lampic, 10th position for Slovenia. That's one of her best ever results. Top 10 today, reasonably early start, number 37.
All right, Ingvild, congratulations on a win here.
12th.
You had your first Distance World Cup win ever here. Was it 2 years ago, I guess?
Yeah, maybe 2 years ago. That was a big milestone for me, and today I also felt good, but it was really difficult to ski well today. It was difficult both uphill and downhill, so I'm just really satisfied with the race.
Yeah, we could see heading into Christmas that your shape was coming up and up with each weekend, and you're spot on now.
It was the plan to go faster and faster every weekend, so I feel really good now, and I hope I can keep this shape and be even better in February.
Yeah, perfect. And you're now leading the Tour, I think, by 32 seconds heading into tomorrow's race.
Oh, just crossed the finish line, so I haven't thought about overall in the Tour yet, but tomorrow is a pursuit race, so if I'm in the lead, I guess I'll be chased by a lot of fast girls, so it will be hard to keep them behind me, but I will ski as fast as I can, and maybe I could keep the lead, but that's gonna be hard.
Well, anyways, congratulations on today, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Well, that's nice to hear from Østberg, never short of a word, and always positive. I don't quite know what satisfied means, because all the Norwegians use it as a ticket out of jail when they're asked an awkward question. 32 seconds, though, Mike, is a difficult margin. If it was 15, she'd say, I might as well drop back and stay in the pack and save some energy. At 32, she's going to be tempted to try and go for it.
I think so, and then to pick up another 15 seconds. So I think she has to go for the suicide tactics. Hopefully she can survive it.
Welcome back to Lenzerheide. Here are the standings in the Tour de Ski after 2 stages of 7. Usberg and Veng, the 2 big battlers from last year, 1 and 2. Jessie Diggins 1 minute and 4 behind. She's got some work to do if she's going to catch the 2 leaders. And of course, Nepraeva up there in 4th place. Sorry, that was just a little bit quick to check it out. Let's have a look at Van der Graaf. Drops a long way down the order, but that was to be expected, Mike. I thought Feindrich might put on a better show today, but she's now 2:51 behind, down in 32nd place.
Yeah, a little surprising. So many surprises today, actually.
And Elizabeth Stephen, who did so well last year, down in 37th. Hopefully it all goes the right way from here on in. Now, casting a mind forward to tomorrow, 32 seconds between 1st and 2nd, 32 seconds between 1st, 2nd and 3rd. So actually, Usberg, if she can start strong and just stop the chase, could well go into the stage 4 with a minute's lead.
Yeah, into the day off with a minute's lead. But Heidi Veng, I think this course profile tomorrow will really suit her strength at hill climbing. It's a very stiff
but I
course.
don't think the altitude suits Heidi Veng, so I don't think we're going to see the best of Heidi Veng tomorrow, whereas the altitude doesn't seem to bother Usberg, who was flying today, fastest from start to finish, and she wraps up her 9th career win and takes the lead in the Tour de Ski. So just under a 5%, what's that, 4% hit rate in terms of wins in the World Cup, and very consistent in terms of podium finishes, but not quite as impressive as Heidi Veng, who notched up her 72nd podium finish today. What a star she would have been had Bjørgen taken up another sport.
Well, Bjørgen has claimed so many of the podiums over the last 16 years, in fact.
So that's all from Lenzerheide today. One more day of racing, and it starts tomorrow. The women's race kicking off at 9:45 New Year's Day. Hope you join us.